Hey, Uncle Brad here. Wanted to set a little context before the show begins, because if you've not seen the Big Lewbowski, which is the situation I thought Jules might have been in, you might be a little confused by the change of behavior or even change in the way I talk. And so throughout this episode, I'm dropping one-liners from the Big Lewbowski, fully expecting Jules not to know what I'm talking about. Eventually she figures it out, but I wanted to bring you in on the joke too. All right, let's get to the show. Thanks for listening.
Hi, Uncle Brad.
Jules.
How's it going?
Strikes and gutters, ups and downs.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I am really just holding on by a thread. I will tell you that much. Yeah, I went out to a really, really nice Italian dinner last night, January 15th, when we're recording this on the 16th. So it was the 15th, a Monday. And man, let me tell you, that glass of wine was just staring me in the face. I mean, to tell you, not that I have any issue, but the worst part of doing dry January is when you're out at dinner and you want to pair it with food and you can't.
Yeah.
This really is, honestly, this is a challenge of mind over matter. And I'm so ready for it to be over.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you eat the bar and sometimes, hey man.
Yeah. Because this is the time. Every year I've done this. This is the exact time about 2 weeks in where I'm like, I'll start doing damn January. But I'm telling you, Brad, this year I'm doing it for real.
Yeah. Well, hey, this aggression will not stand, man.
No. I am just trying to positive my way out of this month.
Yeah. Well, positive it shall be today because we're talking about a classic cocktail that almost died and made a resurgence, and that is the White Russian.
God, I love this cocktail. It's fitting that I talked about my dry January experience in the beginning, because the cocktail I would be making and I'm going to share with you guys today, I'm so sorry for all the NA drinkers out there, but this cocktail recipe that I'm going to share that's a riff off the White Russian, there's no non-alcoholic substitution for this. You want to make this the right way. So I'm going to share my recipe with you guys today. That's a riff off the White Russian. This used to be my bar order in my early 20s. Don't ask me why. But there was something about it and I loved it. It. And recently I ordered it when we were in France during our family's wedding. We were in Nice, and that's when I knew I needed to go home. Was my last order of the night was the White Russian, but it was really good. After I ordered that, I was like, I think it's time I should go home.
So we're in France, and you ordered a White Russian?
White Russian. Actually, I think it was Luciana. It was Luciana who was like, we were all toasted right at the end of the night. And Luciana goes,
hey, careful, man. There's a beverage here, right?
Yeah. She goes, could I have a White Russian? And I go, can you make that too?
Oh, yeah.
And then from there, it was like, oh, yeah, I need to go home.
Yeah.
But needless to say, it's a guilty pleasure. It's such a delicious cocktail. And I can't believe it died, Brad. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it almost died. It almost died, but made a comeback. And we'll talk about that.
Thank God for that.
Yeah. We'll talk about that in the history. But first, we've got to make a cocktail, right? And
yes.
I feel bad for you with your dry January. That's just tough stuff right now. Yep.
No, let me tell you, because you're going to laugh so hard that I can't sip this cocktail with you, because it is everything that's up my alley. But I couldn't not share it this week. So people who are listening, please go out and make this cocktail, live vicariously. Let me live vicariously through you. And the classic, Brad. I mean, I'm a sucker for a White Russian. So we got two really good recipes today.
Yeah. Cool. Hey, what's our tip, man? What are we talking about in the tip section?
Yes. I'm excited about this. So White Russian, one of the key ingredients for those who may or may not know, is coffee liqueur. You want to know how easy coffee liqueur is to make at home? Well, stick around for the tips section, because I'm going to show you how to make it at home. And it's so easy. So
sweet.
Easy. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
God, I'm kind of looking
today,
forward
Brad.
to this. I mean, I know you're thirsty, and I'm going to imbibe because I didn't do dry January. I didn't
Smart.
even do
Smart
damp
move.
January. I just did
Yeah.
January. Yeah,
I'm
it's
just
January.
doing Jan.
Yeah,
Yeah, that is
yeah.
the right way
Any
to do
old
it.
month here. Yeah. Well, all right. Well,
All
let's
right.
get into it. Let's make a cocktail.
Yeah, I'm ready to listen. I'm ready to listen, learn. I'm telling you though, Brad, I think the non-alcohol is really putting me in a good place.
Oh fuck, I'm dying.
Going to live vicariously through you. This is
I
one of
know.
my favorites. I'm so excited for you to
Yeah,
make
the
it.
dude abides. Dude abides.
The dude.
You ever had a Caucasian, Jules?
Remind me what that is again?
It's a White Russian.
Yes, but it's not using coffee liqueur. It's
Nope.
using
It's White Russian. Just some might call it a Caucasian.
Oh.
I don't know if you ever met Jeffrey, but he likes Caucasian once in a while. Anyways, I digress.
There is other versions of the White Russian, I thought.
Oh yeah, we'll get into that.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, there's versions.
But you're making the OG classic.
I'm making the old G. Yeah, and here's the deal. Like today, not to rub it in, but I'm making a 1.5 times size because I've got a big 12-ounce rocks glass. So I wanted to fill the glass.
Bummer.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So I'll tell you here now. So for those of you who are just like, well, what's it? Just kind of one portion. It's such an easy 3-ingredient cocktail, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's 2 ounces of vodka. It is 1 ounce of Kahlua and 1 ounce of cream. Now the deal is that you put the vodka and the Kahlua in first, and then you stir, add your ice, or you add your heavy cream on top.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of has a nice little layer effect, and it's kind of running down. But admire that just for a short while, because to properly drink this drink, you need to stir the contents to incorporate all the flavors. Yeah. So
hence
I know people
the
are
name
like
Caucasian.
Sure. Or White Russian. Yeah. So yeah, you've got to look. The flavors need to be together. Sorry, folks, for those of you who are all into the Insta shots. Looks pretty, but then it doesn't. So
yeah. Well, yeah. You get your Insta photo, then you mix it.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, let's step over to my cocktail station here, and I'm just going to whip this thing up. So I have got my vodka, my Kahlua, and my cream.
Yep.
And then, of course, I've got my glass of ice. So I went ahead and I pre-measured everything for the sake of time. So I'm going to add my vodka. Hello.
Nice.
And I'm going to add my Kahlua. It is that easy. So I did 3 ounces of vodka, 1.5 ounces of Kahlua. I'm going to give it a little stir here. All right. And then I'm going to add a little bit more ice because I want the drink to look full. So
smart.
Okay. And then I'm just going to pour in the Kahlua. It looks so nice and pretty in the glass. And now you sit back, you admire that. You're like, wow, that is beautiful. A piece of art, isn't it? Look at that. Isn't that pretty?
Look at that.
It's just a beautiful cocktail. Look at that nice bright white side. Never stirred in, because that's what you do, man.
You have to. I mean, otherwise you're just going to get a big sip of heavy cream as your first sip,
Now, I've seen people who will kind of lightly whip the cream.
Yeah.
Don't do that. What are you doing? Don't do that. Don't whip the cream. Just put a good heavy cream in. You can use half and half. You never use milk. Ever.
No.
Nope.
Because it'll coagulate more with milk rather than heavy cream, correct?
It's just thin and it's not fun.
Right.
The cream adds a little thickness to the drink. It makes it good. It makes it wholesome. Don't worry about the calories. This is not the time to be counting calories. If you're going to order a White Russian, just forget about it. No. Do a little extra dancing on the dance floor.
Yeah.
Cut a rug.
Yeah.
If you know what I'm saying. Yeah.
And I want to give a tip for those who may have lightly whipped the cream. And I think I know why you do that. And you want to get that cream top, right? You want it to sit right on the top for that Instagram photo. Well, I will tell you, if you use the back of your bar spoon and you slowly pour in the heavy cream, it will sit there. So if that's why you're doing it, just layer really easily with the back of your bar spoon. And then you don't have to whip it and then mix it and all this stuff. You can just have it on there, take a picture, mix it together. Boom.
Yeah. That's like your opinion, man. Yeah.
Totally.
So all right, Jules. Well, I made this with some quality vodka and some quality cream. I'm sorry you're not having quality of life right now with your January, but I still am back here pushing you from behind. You can do this. We've got 2 more weeks until the end of January. You got this. You got this.
Well, I will.
What would you drink if you were drinking right now?
That's what I was going to say. I will tell you, if I wasn't doing dry January, what I would be drinking is a drink that I actually found while celebrating the holidays. It's from Imbibe magazine is where I found the recipe. The recipe is actually from a bartender named Beau Bertnick at Cask in Portland. And the cocktail is called Lite Treason. And once you hear what's going on, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, that's such a Jules drink. No wonder she's so sad this episode. So what you're going to want to do is you're essentially doing what Brad did, but we're going to do a little bit of shaking. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to shake 1.5 ounces of vodka, a 1/2 ounce of coffee liqueur, and a 1/2 ounce of Cynar. It says to shake. I bet you can. I think when I made it, this is a couple of weeks ago now, I think I just stirred it in the glass because when I make a White Russian, I just build it in the glass. So I assume you could do it both ways. But like Brad did, you're going to pour it over ice. Here's the kicker. First off, the Cynar is the kicker, right? The Cynar, it's kind of a deep digestif. It has just really nice herbaceous notes, and you're mixing that with vodka, which is neutral, but then coffee liqueur. I mean, the Cynar and coffee really go well together. But here's the creme de la creme is you're going to top it with a mezcal whipped cream. Yeah. Okay. So what they have you do is 4 ounces.
Cautiously optimistic.
I know. 4 ounces of heavy cream with 1 ounce of mezcal and a 1/4 ounce of simple syrup. You just lightly whisk that together. You layer that on top. And they do say to put freshly grated coffee beans on top.
Yeah.
But that is called the Lite Treason. I tested it a couple of weeks ago and it is fantastic. And that's exactly why I was not going to make it today, because there's no way around making this a mocktail and it's too good not to share. So there you have it.
Well, I appreciate your commitment to quality and the show's integrity, man, because, like you could have dry January that and really screwed up this whole episode.
No, I wasn't going to do that. I wasn't going to do it. You know what? No,
I'm glad
not
you
today.
didn't.
Yeah, there's some like some that we have been doing earlier on in dry January have been actually really exciting and delicious and fun and inventive with the mocktail space. This one, just, you know what? If you're dry, drink it in February. What can I say? I know I certainly am. I'm definitely revisiting this again.
What's your first drink in February? What do you think it's going to be?
Well, I don't know. It might be a hashtag wall banger, Brad.
Ooh, we're going to hashtag wall bang it.
Hashtag wall bang it. Yeah.
I like it.
But there you go.
Yeah. Gosh, yeah.
Two really good.
All right.
Yeah, two really good drinks today. So I'm excited for everybody.
Let's get after the history. What do you think?
I think there's a movie that we should talk about in this history.
Oh, you think so?
I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. Let's do it.
Let's get into it. Let me see. Okay. I've put together from the recipe. You've been saying man a lot, and you said this cocktail almost died. So let me just start by guessing. Here's my guess for our history lesson. This is SparkNotes version, okay? I'm guessing it was popular back in like the weird Jell-O cakes era. Then it stopped being popular and it almost died. But there's a movie called The Big Lewbowski where the dude brought the cocktail back. How'd I do?
You know, a lot of ins, a lot of outs, a lot of what have yous and whatnots, and a lot of strands to keep in my head, man.
Yeah, yeah. I was noticing you're saying a lot of man. I feel like you're getting into this persona.
So I've totally just been like waiting for you to be like, what? is your problem right now?
Oh, I knew it. I was like, wow, he's really leaning into this one. I gotta say something.
Oh my God, that's so funny. I was like, there's no way she hasn't seen this movie. No way.
No way. No, this is a class. Actually, in film school, which is actually what I was supposed to do with my life,
Well, you're kind of doing it. You know what?
doing it.
Actually,
There
you go. All right.
We built this set on campus. It was like when I was in production design, it was like a fun little exercise where we built it's the bathroom and the living room scene. We built it on campus just, as a fun project. So yes, we had to watch this movie, but had isn't even the right word because it is a joy of a movie to watch, man. It is funny. It's a good one.
Dude, man, just want my rug back, man. This aggression will not stand. So I watched this movie between Christmas and New Year's because my day job, my regular company, we shut down for that weekend. I just kind of had all this time to just absorb more alcohol and calories. And so one morning I couldn't sleep and it was like 4 a.m. and I was like, screw it, I'm going to get up. And I watched The Big Lewbowski. And then all of a sudden I realized, I'm like, oh my God, Uncle Tom's that guy with the glasses.
Yeah.
It's like I was dying.
Yeah.
So,
that movie, it's good. If you have no idea what we're talking about, just stop what you're doing, or at the end of the day, go and watch this movie. It's fantastic. It's hilarious. It's a classic. It's
a cult classic. It is so bizarre, but it's funny. Like if you can just let go for a moment and just get stupid and just enjoy some foolish humor, it is such a great movie. So my God, yeah, love The Big Lewbowski. So
how did I do on my Spark Notes little history lesson there?
Nailed it. The Big Lebowski definitely plays a role here. We'll talk about that too. So, all right. Well, let's talk about this. And I want to give you the person that this cocktail was invented for.
Okay.
Because there ain't much story beyond that. So let's talk about Pearl Mesta. And she was an American socialite and political party thrower and U.S. ambassador to Luxembourg from 1949 to 1953. Now, here's the deal. When she was born to a wealthy oil man who she then, obviously grew up, later married a steel tycoon who then he died. Her husband died in 1925, leaving her as the sole heir to his fortune of $49 million in 1925. That is about 1 point something billion today.
My God.
Lots of bucks.
Wow.
So she ended up getting into politics because she became a big supporter financially of Harry S. Truman. And when he was elected, he rewarded her for her support with an appointment as the U.S. ambassador to Luxembourg. Now, she likes to party, throws party for the political elites. And they say that if you get an invite to Pearl Mesta's party, you have officially arrived on the scene. Like you are in the crowd. You are important. Yeah. You've made it as a politician and a DC socialite. Well, and she only hung out with people of political nature. So congressmen, senators, etc. Now, as the ambassador to Luxembourg, Pearl found herself in Europe quite often. And it was in Brussels at the Hotel Metropole, which was a place that she liked to frequent, not far from the U.S. Embassy. And she met a bartender by the name of Gustav Tops, and he gifted her a cocktail that he invented for her because he knew she loved Kahlua, and he wanted to reward her accomplishments. She was in Time magazine earlier that year in 1949. She was the cover of Time. And so he gave her the Black Russian, which is vodka and Kahlua. And maybe it was a tongue-in-cheek move, kind of because the Iron Curtain drink was meant to be mysterious and dark by mixing this Russian vodka with this inky Kahlua. So made just for Pearl. And Pearl, who eventually moved back to DC, no doubt was serving this at her parties. So there isn't much to tell after that, but you can only imagine somebody invents a cocktail for you. You happen to love it. you throw parties, what are you going to do? You're going to serve your cocktail that was invented just for you. So it becomes popular and actually ends up in print around, I think it was 1961 in the
Mm-hmm.
Diners Club book, which mentions that the Black Russian, and then there's a footnote, without cream. So it's like, oh, so without cream. So the White
Interesting.
Russian must exist. So,
Right.
all right, well, what about the White Russian then? Who invented that? And honestly, nobody really knows for sure. But we talked about Donato Duke Anton last week, or Antone,
Mm-hmm.
and he was the inventor of the Harvey Wallbanger. He was the inventor of the Italian Fascination, which, by the way, the Italian Fascination was Galliano, Kahlua, and cream, and
Mm-hmm.
as well as triple sec, by the way. And so he was playing around with clearly Kahlua, and he's playing around with cream. I know the guy had vodka in the bar because vodka became a thing in the 50s and 60s here in the United States.
Yep.
And so chances are maybe pretty good that that our boy Anton or our boy Duke put together the ingredients to make the White Russian. Somebody clearly did, right? And
Right.
thought about doing that. Now, in the 50s and 60s, cream in drinks was kind of popular. People loved a pink squirrel and they loved a grasshopper in the 60s and pina
Grasshopper's
coladas.
great.
Oh,
Yeah.
love the grasshopper.
Wait, what was the
properly
first one?
made pink squirrel.
What is that?
Ooh, you never had a pink squirrel?
No. That's fun to say.
So good. Hold on.
Is
Let me
it?
see here. I have got the stuff.
I've seriously never heard of a pink squirrel.
It's not jumping out at me, but it's here. It's creme de noyau, which is an almond liqueur that's red,
Okay.
and white creme de cacao, and then you add cream, and you've got a pink squirrel. Yeah, you can also make it with ice cream.
That.
Jules, it is unbelievable. It is so
my
good. I
God.
love a pink squirrel.
Wait.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Old school
maybe we
supper
need to
club.
do that next. Yeah. Maybe
We can do a
next
pink
season.
squirrel. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's on the docket. Trust me. Oh yeah. Mhm. Oh yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
that's exciting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So cream was definitely used
Yeah.
in cocktails around that time. Sure.
people were putting cream in cocktails for
Okay.
sure. So
Mhm.
it could be that our boy Anton took a riff on the Black Russian and made a variation and just said, "Hey, this is a White Russian." It's not that
Mhm.
hard to, not a hard leap. Speaking of variations, Jules, I'm going to quiz you now. I'm going to quiz you.
Oh.
That's all right.
These are all
So-
spooky.
There is the White Canadian. What's that made with, do you think?
Canadian whiskey?
Maple whiskey. But somebody also wrote that it's made with goat milk. And I'm like, what the fuck does that have to do with
Whoa.
Canada?
Whoa.
So whoever wrote goat milk, y'all smoking something. So
Yeah, I wonder how that even
Yeah.
is that like sour? I don't
All
know.
right. Now here's another one.
Okay.
White Mexican.
Well, that's made with tequila. Come on.
No. It's made with horchata in place of the cream.
Oh, wait, that sounds fantastic.
That does sound fantastic. I was like, how can I get my hands on some horchata?
So what? It's vodka, coffee liqueur, and horchata on top?
Yeah. Yeah.
What if you put mezcal instead of vodka? Boom.
Well, that's a good idea.
I can always fit mezcal in there.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Hey, what are you drinking? What are you eating with your Cheerios? A little mezcal.
Yeah, a little mezcal.
A little mezcal and Fruit
Hey,
Loops. My
If
favorite.
there's a will, there's a way, okay?
Yeah.
So
All right. Then you've got the Dirty Russian. The Dirty Russian. What's in a Dirty Russian?
chocolate milk.
Booyah.
Really?
You got it. Yeah. Chocolate
No
milk.
way.
Yep,
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now, a White Belgian. What do you think that has in it?
Maple syrup. I don't know.
Belgian. Maple syrup.
I don't know. Aren't they
Why do
like
you think
known
of
for
Belgian
pancakes out
waffle?
there? Yeah.
Yeah, kind of, right? Good one. All right.
Yeah,
All right.
I don't know.
I digress. Yeah, the White Belgian uses chocolate liqueur instead
Dang
of
it.
coffee liqueur.
I should have known that. That I don't know about that one. That one might be too sweet for me.
All right. How about
You
this
know
one?
what?
Here's
There's
a
only
layup.
one way to know. Gotta try it.
Here's a layup. White Cuban.
Rum.
Yes, rum.
Coffee.
And then, of course, there's this pumpkin spice version, too, because why not? Gross. Anyway.
Hey, don't dog on the PSL, okay?
I don't get the pumpkin spice thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm just hating because everybody's like, pumpkin spice.
Yeah, I think you're a
I
hater.
washed my hair with
people
it.
Yeah, I mean, people do go a little loco for it, but it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I
I
like
don't
it.
know. I don't like the smell.
Oh, don't read my book then, Brad. I have a pumpkin spiced Irish coffee coming out.
Yeah, I know. I saw that.
Yeah. You were like, damn it, Jules.
Hey, listen, you know what? You got to appeal to the masses, right?
Exactly.
All right. So Ben and Jerry's actually had an ice cream too that was dedicated to the White Russian, called the White Russian. Somebody else called it From Russia with Buzz. I like that name better. And that was like a coffee liqueur spiked ice cream, and it was pretty good. But then it died because it was trailing all other flavors. In 1996, they put it to rest. They're like, this has to go to the graveyard, but brought it back in 2013.
I wonder why. I wonder why.
What do you wonder, Jules? Why would they bring it back?
Was that when the movie was really made?
Yeah, the dude, man, his dudeness, the duder, El Duderino.
Tell me why. If you would have asked me, I would have told you that movie was from like 2004.
No, you know what? That's a pretty good guess because I thought it was like 2000, but it was 1998 that movie came out. And that movie.
So then why did it get popular again in 2013?
Well, because finally Ben and Jerry's is like, God, everybody's asking for this White Russian thing. You know, like, so yeah, like the White Russian just like was going to die off.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, clearly people weren't into it. They had to kill off the ice cream. Yeah. And then it takes off because of the Big Lewbowski.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, no wonder, because that is probably, if you have a dad bod, that has got to be, and can grow a little facial hair, that is the easiest costume on the planet. All you need is like a ratty bathrobe and your requisite Caucasian, aka
and you can just
White
have
Russian.
A perfect excuse to drink White Russians all night.
Totally. Like, who's not going to want a Halloween costume where like your job is to walk around with a cocktail in your hand at all times?
Oh,
I'll take that one for 500, Alex, please. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Although it's not Alex anymore. Who is it? Like, Punky Brewster. What's her name? I don't know.
No, it's the guy who's like the one. He's won the most amount of Jeopardies.
Now he's the host.
Yeah.
Oh,
I like him. He's cute.
Is he? Okay.
Nobody beats Alex, though. I mean, let's be real.
No, nobody beats Alex. He was the goat.
Yeah. So if you ever watch Jeopardy and the question is, what cocktail made its resurgence because of this movie, you could say the White Russian.
Yeah. What is the White Russian? Yes. Yeah. So that is it. If it wasn't for the Big Lewbowski, one Jeff Bridges, we may not be drinking White Russians today. And you know what? Honestly, I don't drink them that often, but they're good. You know, I've got friends who love them. Yeah. My friend Cheryl, she just absolutely loves a White Russian. I think she even said, like, when are you guys going to do an episode on White Russian?
No, it's
here it is, Cheryl. This one's for you. Just like
Brad,
Pearl. This episode's for you. No.
Thank God for her. OG, the real OG. Remind me, and I know we're kind of stepping back into your recipe. How much heavy cream did you put on top?
I put 1.5 ounces on mine because I 1.5x'd the drink. So otherwise it'd be 1 ounce.
Yeah. Okay. That's right.
So 2, 1, 1.
Yeah. That's one note I wanted to note in the recipe. I'll note now. I've seen a lot of people douse their White Russian with heavy cream. Yeah. You don't need too much. I think that just goes with anything with heavy cream. A little goes a long way. So just don't overdo it, because I've had some, and maybe don't order it at a bar either, especially a dive bar. But I've had some where it's like, I'm drinking milk now. That's awesome. Yeah. Great.
Honestly, though, if you're at a dive bar, you might be able to pull out a White Russian. I don't know. They might not have the cream. You know, they're probably going to open up the coffee creamer little
hit or miss,
and then they're going to be pissed off because they're like pulling back the tinfoil and all those coffee creamers. Or they might just take the powdered stuff and just sprinkle it in there. Right. So gross.
Yeah. Order at your own risk, you know?
Yeah. Know your audience. Run the numbers when you walk in the bar. Is this the kind of place that could do a White Russian? Totally. I don't know. That guy's got a tattoo on his face and he looks angry. I'm not going to have him make me my White Russian.
Good. Yeah. But cool. That's the history. That's awesome. I knew the Lewbowski was in there.
Yeah. All over it.
Yeah. Always.
Jules, good job on sussing out the Big Lewbowski. I was going to get to this point and fully anticipated you to be like, what is he on right now?
Yeah, man. We're going to make a White Russian, man. I was like, oh, wow, he's really leaning in. He's taking this character serious.
All right. Let's get to the tips because I'm excited for those.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. I forgot what our tips are because I have had my 1.5 ounce or 1.5 timed White Russian.
White Russian.
A little fun right now.
Yeah. My intro to this is, have you or a loved one ever thrown out your coffee grinds? Have you ever felt bad when you see those grinds just in the trash and
Mm.
never to be used again?
Mm.
Well, have no fear because homemade coffee liqueur is here.
Oh,
How was that?
you should do voiceovers. You should do voice commercials.
That wasn't
Hi,
bad, right? I just kind of came up with that on the fly. I'm not
this
gonna
is
lie. I don't have
Juliana.
that written down or anything.
What?
Yeah, no, I just made that up.
You just made that up?
Yeah,
That's pretty good. That's
that
pretty good.
wasn't bad, right?
Yeah, that's wow.
Oh,
Okay, hey,
yeah.
Jules, props.
So coffee liqueur, we're gonna make
There
it.
you go. Yeah, we got it. Okay.
Yeah. So I have seen it done many different ways. This is a way that I've done it. I do from when I've made it, it is kind of foolproof. You can't go wrong. Essentially, you're infusing your spirit with coffee. So one of the ways that I did it is really and truly, I make my espresso, and so I'm tamping them out every time, and I'm throwing out the grinds, and I'm like, there has to be a way. So what I did is I kept the grinds, and I waited until I had about a cup of the leftover coffee grinds to make this coffee liqueur. Now, of course, if you don't want to wait that long, or maybe you go out and get your coffee, you can do this with instant espresso, or just ground coffee. So don't feel excluded here. Anybody with coffee grounds can do this. But what you're going to want to do, yes, Brad, question in the back.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So you have said grinds.
Yeah.
Do you call it grinds or grounds? Coffee grounds? Coffee grinds. I mean, I guess if you're grinding it, it could be grinds, but you ground the coffee, so it's ground coffee. I've never heard it called grinds before.
What just happened? Have I ever called it grinds? I think it's grounds.
It is grounds.
Oh my God. I swear to God, I haven't been drinking.
So okay, but now I gotta know. Like, have you been calling it grounds or grinds your whole life?
Coffee grinds.
And
What?
no one's ever said to you?
I think I've always. Did you just Google? Is it coffee grinds? Has anybody ever
I
called it coffee
literally
grinds?
had to Google it because I'm like, have I been saying it wrong? No,
There's no such thing.
no. Because I
Wow.
typed in coffee grinds and Google corrected it. Do you mean coffee grounds?
Grounds, but I called it. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So
There's
grounds.
grinds coffee.
Oh. Okay. So
Wait,
coffee grounds. Wow. That's
hold
gonna
on,
take a second.
hold on. All right. Understanding the basics of coffee grinds. Finely ground beans mean coffee grinds. All right. So you know what?
Oof.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Do you call it a clicker or a remote?
Right. Potato.
Come on.
By the way, I call it a remote. If somebody says clicker, I know what they're talking about. Also, I knew what you're talking about when you said grinds. It just
Through you.
like
It threw
hung
me when
on
you
me.
brought it
Yeah.
up.
It was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
something in my ear just going, Bob, she said grinds, she said grinds, she said grinds, grinds.
I am so glad we cleared that up.
Well,
Because
grounds,
wow,
grinds. Hey, look. All right.
you know
What
what
happens?
you need. What do you need? So what I've done is I actually have
Question in
those.
the
I have those big weck jars. You can. I've used a and I don't know if this recipe will hold it in a.
So I also got
French
ask
press,
another
but-
question. What is a
Yeah.
weck jar? Because a lot of people might not know that. I didn't know that until recently. A weck
A
jar.
weck jar is just like it's a bigger mason jar that's all glass, so it can just hold a lot of.
Oh, and it's got the top that you just kind of
you clamp
latch.
on. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Weck jar it is.
Yeah. So you're going to get a container with a lid because you're going to add 1 cup of your coffee grounds or grinds, whichever you like to call
I'm
it.
calling it grinds from now on.
Yeah. That's what I want. 1 cup of brown sugar. So equal parts. So if you want to level this up, you can just do equal parts of your coffee and your sugar. And then I like to add in 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. You could also add in half of vanilla bean pod. But what you're going to want to do, put that in a mason jar and just kind of stir it. If you're doing the leftover grounds, you can let that kind of macerate overnight because it'll kind of turn, because there's already water that have gone through the leftover grinds or grounds.
Yeah, no, I
So you
say
can do
you
it
stick
that
with
way.
it. Commit to grinds.
Grinds.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then if you're doing it that way, let it sit overnight. If not, what you're going to want to do, whether it's sat out for the night or if you're not doing your leftover grounds, what you're going to do is in that jar, you're going to add in 1 cup of heated water, like from your kettle, right? So
Yep.
not like super boiling hot, but just right there. And then you're going to add in about 2 cups of vodka. Now, if you didn't let this sit overnight, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to let this sit for about 7 hours. And then you're going to strain out all of those grounds and the vanilla bean pod, whatever it is, and you will have coffee liqueur. I've also seen this done instead
Nice.
of vodka. I've seen people use rum as well as their base. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Yeah. So really
Yeah.
easy. And there are a couple of different recipes out there that might be easier or harder. This is the one that I found that was just super easy to just kind of boom, boom, boom,
Sweet.
strain it done.
Well,
So
I'm making my own coffee liqueur now. Damn.
I know. Don't waste
Yeah.
those grounds. Don't waste those grinds.
Grounds, grinds. You know what I mean?
Whatever.
Go make the liqueur.
Go do
All right.
it. There you go.
There you go. Wonderful, Jules. Well, that was a fun episode.
Well,
Let's
cheers,
get the hell out of
Brad.
here. Cheers.